So it is page number 186 till we have done. So because this is all connected to each other. So we'll start project schedule management. And this is one of the very important topic, as many questions you can always expect from this one. And practically also when you are planning to do any project, it is very, very important. So it's already the time we have waited. So we will start the project schedule management. From the word you can understand, it is about the schedule, and it includes the process required to manage the timely completion of the project. As if you will see, most of the projects generally so project schedule management includes the process required to manage the timely completion of the project. If you see, most of the projects generally gets delayed. Why? It is a conventional saying that 90% of the project takes X amount of time, and that last 10% also takes approximately X% of the time. So what happens, because at the end we find out many things which are like not known, or this thing is missing, that thing is missing. So that is why it's very, very important that the project schedule needs to be properly balanced. So what are the ways how to do that? We will see all of them today. So project schedule management includes the process required to manage the timely completion of the project. So what are the words that we have to understand? Plan, schedule management, the process of establishing the policies, procedures, and documents. We have done till page 186. I'm just revising it. So project schedule management consists of 6 processes: plan schedule management, define the activities, sequence activities, estimate activity duration, and develop schedule and control schedule. So what is the plan schedule management? The plan schedule management means the process of establishing the policies, procedures, and documentation for planning, developing, managing, executing, and controlling the project schedule. So it means how you are going to plan your schedule. What are the ways by which you will plan? What are the tools that is required for a proper planning of the schedule? Then define the activities. It is a very, very important thing. As good you are able to define the activities, as good your project plan will be. So example, what will happen, like when we start any project initially, so we come with a number that, okay, it will take these many days, these many years or something, because we find out the numbers or data. Like example, if you want to start building a building, so you will have a time that, okay, it will take approximately 10 months of time, example I'm saying. So but when you start breaking down the activity means you say that, okay, just you have written what? You have written in 6-7 steps. Excavation, it will take 1 month. Then piling, it will take 1 month. Building the walls, it will take 2 months. Then the ceiling and all this will take 1 month. Example, you have broken it like that. But in reality, when you will go further down and deep down, you will try to dig into smaller activities, like you will create work breakdown structure for smaller activities. So example, if you say building the wall or piling. So when the piling is done, like there is some curation time, like it will take some time to get normal. It will take some time to become okay. So those things were not involved at the initial calculation. So what will happen? Your actual plan, your activities will be well defined now. And now what will happen? You will come up with new timeline, which may be more than what you have previously assumed. So in that case, if you find that you have initially thought of 10 months, but when you are practically calculating everything, it is becoming around 12 months. So it becomes your duty as a project manager to make sure that all the end user, the stakeholders are informed well in advance that the activities, so the plan, the schedule, the calendar, it's a living document. It has to be updated as per the real scenario, and it should not be like a dead calendar that if it is fixed, if some changes are happening, all the end user must be informed. Sequence activities, this we already know. So example, sequence means in which order the things will be done. Example, if you want to give the PMP exams, so what will be the sequence? The sequence are like, example, you first take this training. Second is you read all the presentation, attempt the questions. That means you do self-study. And the third, fill the form. Fourth, give the example. So in this activity, we have to understand which is the predecessor and which is the successor. So example, now you are doing the training. After this training, you are going to do example, self-study example, or you are going to give the exam. So self-study or giving the exam, or which we said in English, actually, it is about taking the exam. So taking the exam and so this will be called as a successor activity. It cannot be done until your predecessor activity is completed. So example, if you say in any work, like example, when you are doing a programming, so a programming project is there. So you cannot do the errors testing until unless you have done the software. Yeah, you have done the coding. You cannot do the testing of the software until unless the coding has been completed. So the activity that is required before is called predecessor, and the activity which is afterwards is called the successor. Estimate activity duration. What is estimate activity duration? See, whichever field you are working, in whichever field you are there, you will always have understanding that, okay, which activity is going to take how much time and everything. So this is called estimate activity duration. Which activity is going to take how much time, how many days. So that is called estimate activity duration. Also, if you talk in practical sense, we have to also say how many resources will be required. So example, if you say 2 electricians are required to complete this task and it will take 5 days. So okay, 2 days into 5. So you say, then you calculate in man hours, or so example, you say every day 8 hours people are working. So it's a simple question. This type of questions I have seen 1 or 2 times. We'll go in Word file. Let us for Excel sheet. Simple question, very simple question can come. So they are saying for an activity, 2 electricians are required. They work for 6 days and each day they work for 8 hours. So what will happen in that case? 2 electricians are working. 2 electricians are working for 6 days, and every day they are working for 8 hours. So 2 into 6 into 8. So it becomes 8 6 are 48 to the 96. So you will say 96 man hours. 96 man hours is the total time limit. Why it is there? See, because it is also sometimes the question can be advanced and they say for 1 hour, for 1 man hour, the payment is $5, example. So what will be the total cost of the, what will be the total cost of the what? What will be, sorry, what will be the total cost of the project? Example. So what will be the total? So we know 96 hours. Every hour you have to pay $5. So 96 into 5 is how much? 5 6 are 30, 0 3, 5 9 are 45, 3 480, I think. So it will be $480. Is it clear, this question? It's a simple question. Sometime I have seen 1 or 2 times this type of easy question coming. Suppose for an activity, there are 2 electricians are required. They work for 6 hours, 6 days, and they work for 8 hours every day. So how much is the total project cost? Example, where every man hour is $5. So what we will do, there are 2 electricians working. How many days they are working? 6 hours, 6 days. How many hours they are working every day? 8 hours. So 2 into 6 into 8 is 96 man hours. So that means they are going to work 96 hours combined together. And then they say 1 man hour, the payment is $5. What will be the total cost of the project? So 96 into 5, that is $480 the company have to pay for the labor charge or for the worker charge or the electrician charge. Is it clear? This is a simple thing actually.
Yeah, it's clear, sir.
Yeah, it's this type of basic questions come generally. Then you know what can happen. Then we will study one thing called compressing. It will come there. So the same thing as if I just want to make you understand, it's easy thing. So example, now if they say that there is an emergency and they want to complete the work in 3 days. They want to complete the work in 3 days. Then what you will do, if you want to complete the work in 3 days, there are two options. What are the two options? You ask these two electricians that instead of working 8 hours, they work 16 hours. But this will be not human. So you will ask them to work 16 hours each so that the activity can be completed in 3 days. Or what is the second option? If you don't want them to work 16 hours, increase the manpower. So instead of 2 electricians, you let 4 electricians work. So this is called like project compressing. We will see in the coming 2-3 pages only what is project compressing and everything. So in that one, what you will do, if you want to do the time compression, if you want to do that the whole project, which will take 6 days to complete, if you want it to be get completed in 3 days. So what you have to do, there are two options. Option number 1, instead of asking them to work 8 hours, you ask them to work 16 hours. So no, they actually it is not practically that 16 hours, but there are people who work 16 hours. So 16 hours. So in 16 hours, what will happen if they are working 16 hours? Then the project can work, finish in 3 days. That is there. Now, if they want to make the question complex, if they want to make it very tough, what tough they can do? They can say 8 hours will be considered a normal duty where they will be paid $5 a day, and the next 8 hours of their work, it will be called an overtime, and they will be paid 1.5 times of their basic rate. Can you try this question? Is it clear? I'm saying if in this scenario only, there is another scenario where the question is saying there are two ways. One is what? They are saying that how to compress the schedule. It is called compression of schedule. Compression of time schedule. Now you want it that instead of finishing this whole task, instead of finishing in 6 days, instead of finishing in 6 days, you want to get it done in 3 days. So what are the rule? What are the way you can do? Option 1. What is the option 1? You ask these people, the workers, the electricians, to work 16 hours. Electricians work 16 hours a day. Then it can finish. But then the question, if they want to make it complex, they want to make it a bit tough, they can say it what? That the first 8 hours, they are paid the normal rate of $5, and the remaining 8 hours will be considered as overtime, and they will be paid 1.5 times of the normal rate or basic rate. Find the total payment done. So can we do this? What will be the answer for this question? Please try. Same condition. Please try for everybody. How much will be the cost then?
$7.5.
How much? Yeah, 7.5. What, brother? This came? 7.5. Yeah, so first 8 hours. See, every day, first 8 hours will be normal, correct? So that means 2 technicians will work for 3 days. 2 electricians, I will put here to it is clear. 2 electricians, they work for 3 days, and they will be paid how much? $5 for each hour. Correct? 2 electricians, they work for 3 days for 8 hours. 8 hours, and they will be paid $5. So one thing will come. Remaining 8 hours, yeah, will be overtime. So what will happen? The same condition which we are writing. So only thing will change is that their payment rate. So it will change. 2 electricians for 3 days, 8 hours, and instead of $5, they will be paid how much? $7.5 as per the given condition. So please multiply it. What it will come? Total is 600, correct? Total $600. $600. And what is the first part here? First answer. This area.
40.
2 into 3, 6. 6 into 8, 48. 48 into 5. How much it becomes?
240.
240. Huh? So yes.
240.
And this is what?
360.
360. 360.
360, correct? So 360 plus 240 becomes 600. So total $600. Now let us think about option number 2. What could be the option number 2 if you want to save money?
Increase the number.
Increase the number what, sir? Increase the number of
people, like workers.
Yeah, you are right. So electricians, so instead of 2 electricians, 2 electricians, we make, we bring, let us say, we bring 4 electricians. So can you calculate, sir, how much time, how much will be the total? We bring 4 electricians. Now what will happen? 4 electricians will work 8 hours a day into 3 days, correct? And they will be paid 3 days, and they will be paid $5 each, as because they will work.
Total $480.
This is 480, correct? So they will be paid $480. So which you think is a better option?
Option 2.
Option 2. You will be saving the money. So generally in project compression, when we are doing the timeline compression, the schedule compression, so this option comes. In real life also it happens that, but in sometimes what happens, it's not that if one person can paint, then you bring 10% and you get it painted in 2 hours. It cannot be done every time. You have to understand the scenario, but it is a theoretical way which shows, okay, in which way the things can be done. So this is their compression of time schedule, how we can do. So for first, this one we're there. 2 electricians are required. I'm just messaging you. So develop the schedule, the process of analyzing activity sequence, duration, resource requirement, and schedule constant to create the project scheduling. What is the schedule constant means? Any idea? What is schedule constant, we can say? There are activities like, example, there is an activity in which you need a crane, and the management has said that we cannot keep the crane every day. So it has to, all the crane activities, you schedule it at the later side time. So we bring the crane for 3 days and we finish all activities related to the crane. We cannot let one crane stand there for 1 month. So that is like a constraint. That is, there is like an, you can say that there is like a, that issue that you have to keep in control when you are designing your scheduling. Control the schedule, the process of monitoring the status of the project. So they update the project schedule and manage change to the schedule baseline. As I said, in real life, when you are doing a project, in the beginning, you will think that it can take X amount of time. But what will happen once you are finally into this process, once you start doing the project, you will find that there are many smaller activities that you have missed or that needs more time. So you have to make sure that the schedule is updated. And in the real time, the people are updated that, okay, this has changes happened and why the timeline is getting affected. First of all, we have to try and make sure that the timeline is fixed. We do not extend the time, because extending the time means the project will get delayed. That is why when we are making a project schedule, you have to always give some buffer time. Buffer time means some free time or something, so that in case what happens if a project is getting delayed or something, you don't get like you don't have to worry about the timeline. So it is a very common saying, I think I have told you before, always under promise and over deliver. So example, if your management asks when you are going to this project is going to finish, so as you have calculated it will take 2 months, never say 2 months, always give an extra time of few days. Example, you say 2 days, 10 months. So this 10 month, what will happen? It will act as a buffer zone, because mostly and suppose if you say 2 months, 10 days, and if you are able to complete the project, let us say in 2 months, so that they will say, okay, you have done the project before the timeline and everything, it will be highly appreciated. So keep always some time for the unknowns. So the key concept for project schedule management, it is like why we need it, because it acts as a tool for communication. When anybody looks at the calendar, they can understand when this project is going to happen, managing the stakeholders' expectation, and as a basis for performance reporting. So we can see if the project is going on time, is running behind the time, and other things. Project management team selects a scheduling method such as critical path or agile approach. What is the critical path or an agile approach? So I will explain you now. So critical path means, see example, I think I gave this same example. Suppose you are going from place A to place B. Let us say we take one of the participants from our group. Let us say Mr. Edison. He goes from his office to his home, let us say in 30 minutes. So there are different ways by which he can go from his home to the office or from the office to the home. So in a critical path method, you have to select a path which is the longest. It's not that you have to do the longest way. For calculation purpose, you have to consider what is the maximum time it can take. What is the maximum longest path that it can take? And then that path will be called the critical path. To make you easy, so let us say from Mr. Edison's home to his office, from A to B, it takes, let us say, 1 hour to reach. Now, there is another way, like if we goes from road A, so we will see here, this Excel sheet only, we go down and see, let us say Mr. Edison's home and office. So there are 3 routes, let us say route A, which is route 1 or route A. In this one, he doesn't have to pay any toll. So, or let us say he has to pay toll. Toll is like, if some people don't know, because in Saudi Arabia and other places, there is no toll. But in many countries like UAE and India, I think Philippines also, UK, these all places have a toll system. What is a toll system? So when you cross from a particular road, you have to pay extra money. So in some countries like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, there's no toll system. Everything is free. So what happens in road A, it is a toll-free road, or it is with toll, with toll road. you have to pay extra money. Like in Dubai, we have a toll road. So going from Dubai to Sharjah, there is a road called what it is, Sheikh Zayed Road. So a Sheikh Zayed Road, if we have to go on this Sheikh Zayed Road, it takes 16 dirham. That means 4 dirham, 4 dirham, 4 dirham. There are 4 tolls and it takes 16 dirham to go. So it's costly. So route A, if he goes by route A, but it is the fastest, let us say he reach in 30 minutes with this route. There is a route B by which, let us say this route B is toll free. He doesn't have to pay money. So what happened, like example, if I am driving the car, so when I use Google Map, or there is a very popular app, another app, Waze, W-A-Z-E. So when you use Waze or Google Map, so what it will show you, you want to go with toll or without toll. So if I put with toll, it will show 30 minutes. If I'll put without toll, maybe it shows 60 minutes. 60 minutes. But since it is toll free, it is heavy traffic is there. Toll B, toll free, but with heavy traffic. Then there is another road. There is another route C, which is also toll free, but is route C, it is also toll free. You don't have to pay any money, but with low traffic. It's easy to go with low traffic. Maybe from some countryside or this also side. So if you are going on route C, it will say, let us say 90 minutes. So what does the critical path method say? The critical path method says, if you have to go from place A to place B, or if you have to do an activity A, when I'm just giving example of, but it is the activity in real life. So what happened, if an activity can be done in X amount of time, then find the different probabilities by which the activities will come. So there are different activities by which the time will come. So when you take the 3 different time, route A, route B, route C, so you see which is taking the highest time. Route C is taking the highest time. So this will be called as the critical path. Now I will explain you what does it mean. So it is a critical path means, so if you are putting your timeline in the schedule, put a critical path timeline. So why you want to put a critical path line? So what is the maximum amount of time that it can take? If you complete it before, that is much before. But when we are planning for an activity, you always take a critical path to avoid any delay. Now, if example, I'm saying a time 10 a.m. he starts and his office starts, example I'm giving you, his office starts at 11 a.m. 10 a.m. his office, he leaves his home and he should be in the office by 11 a.m. He should be in the office by 11 a.m. Now, if you think Mr. Edison started his home at 10 o'clock in the morning. So what time he will reach his office? If he starts 10 a.m. in the morning, and if he is going from route A, 10:30 he will reach, correct? 10:30 he will reach. So 10:30 a.m. he is reaching. Let us say another example. If he starts 10:20, what time will he reach his office? 10:20. If he starts 10:20, what time it will reach? He will reach 10:50.
Yes.
Because it is taking 30 minutes for him. No, if he starts at 10:30, what? So if you see 10:30 in the first case, so how much time still he has before his office starts?
30 minutes.
30 minutes. So this 30 minutes will be called as the float. 30 minutes is the float. Now, if he starts at 10:20 and he reaches at 10:50, how much time he has still before
10.
his 10 minutes? So this is the 10 minutes float. Float means free time. So he has the free time of 10 minutes. In the activity also what happens, suppose, example, somebody is living in your flat Now that person has vacated the flat. Let us say that person has vacated the flat on 10th of May. And the new tenant, the new renter is going to come from 1st of June. So there are 20 days with him. Now in that, before somebody will come, he has promised that, okay, I will get the flat painted and I will make sure the flat is painted and nicely cleaned. So you can come and start living it. So he asked the painter or the team, so how many days? So they say we will take 5 days to paint and 5 days and total 5 days for painting and as well as cleaning. So example 10th May that tenant has started. So he can start on 10th May the activity and can finish in 5 days. If he starts, let us say on 12th of May and the activity takes 5 days. I think this question everybody will give wrong answer, but I'm still asking. So if example 12th of May, they started the painting and cleaning activity. When the flat will be ready? If 12th of May, the painting and cleaning work starts.
If it's 5 days, then it is going to be 17th.
This is wrong answer, sir.
17, 18. No, sir.
No, wrong answer, sir.
Plus 5 days.
See, 5 days. So this is what we have to understand. In all the questions we will be solving today, this is where everybody makes mistake. Let us say I'm giving a practical example. 12 May, it starts. I'm not thinking about that Saturday, Sunday is holiday. I'm thinking everything is a working day. And I'm saying it will take 5 days. Now you sir count. 1 day, 2 day, 3 days, 4 day, 5 day. When it finished? 16th, correct?
Yeah.
Not on 17th. So this is one of the common mistake which everybody does when they are finding the critical path method or when they are doing the project schedule. One of the option that will come in the exam will be definitely 17th only. So you have to understand that when we say it starts on 12th, that means you have to consider that day as your first day. 12th, 13th, so first day, second day, third day, fourth day, fifth day, correct? So the work will finish on 16th. Now let us say, example, the flat work starts on 17th of May. When it will finish? 5 days only for painting and cleaning. When you think it will finish?
21.
So 21. So 17 is first day, 18 second day, 19 third day, 24 day, 21st is the 5 day. So
But you said we have to take extra buffer time, right? Like
buffer time, but in real calculation, when it will finish? If it starts 5 days, so it will finish on exactly 21st day of
should we
May.
not take a weekday into consideration? Only weekdays?
So, no, actually in real life, what happens if I'm just giving an easy thing, so that is why we are thinking that every day is a working day until and unless specified. Until and unless specified, we will consider that Friday is a working day, Saturday is a working day, Sunday is a working day, Christmas is a working day, Eid is a working day, or Diwali is a working day. Every day is a working day until and unless specified. In real scenario, what happens when we are doing the real project planning? So what happens? We will consider all day. We will say Saturday, Sunday. Example, if you don't work, if the team will not work on Saturday, Sunday. So you will say Saturday and Sunday is not a working day. Now let us think the second scenario when we say Saturday, if it is given in the question that they don't work on Saturday and Sunday. And suppose the work starts on 12th of May. Now please tell when the work will finish. So 12th, first day it will work. Then 13th and 14th it will not work because Saturday and Sunday is a holiday. Second day is 15th, third day,
May.
fourth day, 15th. Yeah, so 18th. So in the exam, rarely it will come. Rarely, I'm not saying that I can give a guarantee. Rarely it will come that Saturday and Sunday is a holiday or something like that, or the 5th day is a holiday. It will rarely come. But in case it comes, they have all the right to ask. So you have to calculate like this. But in most of the questions which I have seen in the exam point of view, I'm saying they will not say that the days are not working. That is why if you have MS Project software, in the MS Project software or Primavera software, these are the scheduling software. So if you use those software, so when you are doing the scheduling of the software, it will ask which all days are the working day. So example, you say it will take 10 days and you say every day is a working day except Sunday. So it will ask then again the question. It's same like Excel sheet. Have you used
They can
MS
say-
Project?
They can say 5 business days, right? That can
Yeah,
be
5 business days. Correct, 5 business days. So they will ask which are your business days. So then you have to select Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So automatically it will calculate automatically all the Saturday, Sunday it will leave. So in
Yes, sir.
some company, yes, sir. Yeah, please.
Unless you specified that in the calendar portion of this MS Project or Primavera. This,
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I will also show MS Project, one MS Project. So actually, I don't have a license version, but if you want, you can please, as you are doing this training, if you have some time, or in your companies, if you have, this is the project management software called MS Project. So I think MS Project trial version is there or not?
Sir, excuse me, sir. I have some question.
Yeah, please ask, brother.
Sir, mungkin how many items this project schedule will come in the exam?
It is very, very important. And believe me, you will be able to solve all the questions without any single mistake. I think around 10 questions can come approximately on this. Not on this, we have to study some more thing. I'm not saying only this one. In the topic, I'm saying 10 to 12 questions will come on this topic or more. So this is one of the most important topic we are doing. So if you can install Microsoft trial MS Project trial version, that is okay. Or else let me show you MS Project schedule example. So see, example I'm saying, it is saying 84 days, Tuesday, Friday, identify goals 1 day. It starts on 2 and it is not finishing on 23rd of February, and it is finishing on 23rd February only because it is 1 day. If it is 0.5 day, it can be 0.5. 4 days, let us see, 26 is starting and then it is finishing on 3rd. Maybe they have said that in this one that these are the days which are off day. So they will always automatically calculate the MS Project which day is off day. There is also a software called Primavera, but I have not used Primavera, but it also is similar to Microsoft Project, where it will ask you which activities you want to do, how many days. Even if you go into more detail, it will ask how many people are there, what is the charges rate. So it's simple, very simple software to use, Microsoft Project. You can download a trial version. If you don't have the original version, just download a trial version. Give some time, 2-3 hours, you will understand how basic project planning are done. Or else what happened, if you don't have this one and still you want to do, you can still go and do on an Excel sheet, because Microsoft Project is an extension of Excel sheet only. So you can also do an Excel sheet and say that, okay, which all activities will take how many days, which day is an off day. So everything will come here in the Microsoft Project. So critical path. Okay, so what I was saying, the float. What is the float? Float is the free time that is available. So at 10:30, if we start at 10 o'clock, if Mr. Edison starts, he is going to reach at 10:30. So he has 30 minutes float. 30-minute float means he is free time. If he starts at 10:30, 10:20, he will finish at 10 minutes. He has 10 minutes. If he starts at 10:30, what is the float he has? If he starts at 10:30 a.m. and he reaches his office 11 a.m., what is the float he has?
No float.
No float. So if he will be delayed by 1 minute also, what will happen? He will be called late in his office. See, some offices are like very flexible. You go late, you come early. That is very, very good. I used to work in a company. So what was the timeline system was connected, the calendar system, the punching system was connected with your salary. And believe me, if you are late by 2 minutes, so 2 minutes salary would also get cut in that factory. It was an American company only, Guardian. They make glasses. In India, it is called Modi Guard glasses. They have factory in Thailand, in Saudi Arabia, it's called Gulf Guard. So I was in the Saudi plant. So for every 2 minutes also, they were used to salary, 2 minutes salary will get cut. So now what I'm telling to you that if you start at 10:30, you will reach at 11, there is zero float. But in the same scenario, if you are late, if you start at 10:35, you will reach at 11:05. No, you are not. Forget about float. You will be considered as late. So float is what? The free time. So when we say a critical path and we say whatever is the critical path. So example, if Mr. Edison is going by route C, what time he should start? 9:30. If he has to reach his office by 11 a.m. because it will take 9:30. So on a critical path, there is no available float. So how will you identify if the path is critical path? If the details are not given, you will identify the float. If there is a float, it's a not critical path. If there is no float, it will be a critical path. We will do the questions. It will become very, very clear. So let's come back here to our topic. Project scheduling, we know project specific data, project schedule, and all things we know already. So planning the schedule management, why you need to develop this? It will provide guidance and direction on how the project schedule will be managed throughout the project. So inputs you need are project charter, project management plan, and 1 minute. Enterprise environment factor, organizational process assets, the tools and technique, expert judgment, because some people will know which activity will take how much time and other thing. Data analysis, alternative analysis can include determining which schedule methodology to use or how to combine various methods on the project. Now, scheduling methodology, we will study again. We have studied a basic in when we were doing the numerical questions. So like doing alpha or beta. So like example, if there are 3 timelines given, you add and divide by 3, or you add most likely 4 times. So those things will come again. Meeting, you meet people and discuss. So schedule management plan. Project schedule model development, the scheduling methodology and tools to be used, release and iteration, we know we did, level of accuracy, unit of accuracy, organizational procedure link, control threshold, rules of performance measurement, reporting format. This is just good to read. Define the activities. You have to define the activities into a smaller plan. Project schedule management plan, you have to create the work breakdown structure. Each activity needs to be broken down into the smaller activity that you can measure. Decomposition. What is decomposition? Each work package within the WBS is composed into the activities required to produce the work package deliverables. So what is this decomposition? Any activity. So example, if somebody asks building the wall. So now you have to break it into a smaller activity and you have to say, okay, building the wall means, okay, erecting the wall, plastering the wall, painting the wall. So all those activity will come. So what you are doing? A big activity, you are decomposing into smaller activities to produce the work package that you can execute, that can be achieved. Final output of this process is activities rather than deliverables, as done in the create WBS process. Involving team members, that decomposition can lead to better and more accurate result. Because if you are doing the planning as a project manager, if you can involve the people who are doing the grass level work or the root level work, so if you involve the painter or if you involve the person who is doing the painting or masonry work, they will give you an exact detail. So it is that is why involving team member in the decomposition can lead to better and more accurate result. Then there are different ways of planning. One is rolling wave planning. We already said it is a iterative planning method, or in which the work to be accomplished in near term. Whatever you want to do in the near term, that is planned in detail, and the work which is required in future, it is planned afterwards at just a basic level, at a higher level. It is a form of progressive elaboration applicable to work package, planning package, and release planning. During early strategic planning, when information is less, work package may be decomposed to the known level. When you know more about how the project will be done, the timeline will get revised, the activities will get enhanced and everything, then your activity will increase. Activity list, what are the tasks that you want to do? That is the activity list. Activity attributes, what is it? Extends the description of activity by identifying multiple components associated with each activity, like unique identification identifier. So what is unique identification identifier? If you are managing a software, if you are doing the project and managing it through software, so for all activities, there will be a code. So you say, example, a job order number or a painting or a code number. So if it is written 02, so 02 means all activity in which let us say plastering work is involved. 05, like all plumbing work is involved. 08, all electrical work is involved. So it can depend upon your company if you are using Microsoft Project or not. Then if you are using Microsoft Project type of thing or Primavera, then a particular identifier number will be generated, auto-generated. Okay, this activity is for this activity. So once you want to calculate why you do this, why it is done like this. So example, if you want to calculate at the end of the project, what is the plumbing cost? So you just click on that identifier number. It will generate all the activities done, how much is the cost, how many meters of plumbing pipes used and everything. So that is why unique identifier are used generally. When completed, they may include activity description, predecessor activity, successor activity, logical relationships, lead and lag. Lead and lag we did before. So what is lead and lag? If we go into this Excel sheet, so what we say, example, Mr. Edison starts at 10 a.m., reaches his office at 10:30 a.m. He is reaching his office 30 minutes ahead of the scheduled time. So it will be called as leading. He is leading the office timeline by 30 minutes. If he starts at 10:20 a.m. and he reaches at 10:50 a.m., still he is leading by 10 minutes. He still has 10 minutes till the final end comes. So it is called leading. What will be called lagging? Lagging is like by how much time you are delayed. So example, if somebody is delayed by 5 minutes, so like example, he started at 10:35 and he reaches at 11:05. So it will be called he is delayed, or in the term of project management, we call lagging by 5 minutes. So one important question comes. This is another mistake which people do. People think lead means I am positive. I am doing positive, so I have to add, I have to plus. So example, if somebody asks that there's a question which says an activity A, or let us say Mr. Edison has started at 10 a.m. and he is leading by 30 minutes. He is leading by 30 minutes. So what time he will reach? So example, he is leading by 30 minutes or 20 minutes. So what time he is? So example I am saying, it is the earlier start time is not written or something is not written. So what you have to understand is that if Mr. Edison is leading by 20 minutes, so that means he will, instead of reaching, and the reaching time is 11 a.m. example, and we say he is leading by 20 minutes. So if it is leading, even though the word looks positive, to find the time as what time he will reach the office, you will
10:40.
Yeah, 10:40. So you have to subtract. So this is one of the common mistake many participants do, that they think that leading means you are leading. Yeah, that means you are ahead. So you have to plus it. But what is the reality? You have to subtract that minute, 20 minutes. So if it is said Mr. Edison is leading by 15 minutes, and suppose the time to reach his office is 11 a.m., tell what is the time by which Mr. Edison will reach the office. As it is given that he is leading by 15 minutes, so instead of adding, one of the option will be 11:15 a.m. So that will become wrong. So if he is leading, if he is ahead of the time, so he will be reaching before the scheduled time. So instead of saying 11 a.m. Reaching time, he will reach at 10:45 a.m. So this is called the concept of leading. Now let us say another example. We say Mr. Edison is lagging behind the time by 12 minutes. 12 minutes. So what time is he going to reach his office? If he
11:12.
11:12. So one of the question object answer would be 10:48 a.m. One would be there 10:48 a.m. So you have to be careful that when you are lagging, you are getting delayed. It is normal thing. See example, when we have to go from office, we say, oh, yeah, 10 minutes, I'm getting delayed. So before you were supposed to reach at 11 a.m., now you are getting 10 minutes delayed. So you will reach at 11:10. So is it clear the concept of leading and lagging? Leading, lagging, and float?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So milestone. What is a milestone? Milestones have zero duration. Why? Any idea why we say milestone is a zero duration? So suppose example, what is a milestone? So milestone is an important achievement. Suppose you are preparing for your exam. Okay. Okay, this exam PMP only we will take the case. Suppose you are preparing for your exam. You gave your PMP exam 3.5 hour, 4 hour exam you gave. The moment you submit your result, you do the final submission, it will tell you immediately your score. So giving the exam is, let us say, 4 hour timeline. So 4 hour is the timeline. So the time duration will be 4 hours. But the milestone of passing, how much time it will be? It will be always have a 0 duration. It is like an achievement or a significant point or event. The milestones do not in itself do not have a time. It's like example, you say, okay, we are building the building. First floor milestone is that first floor will get completed on 10th of May. So till 10th of May, first floor will get completed. But 11th May, second floor will start. But what is the time? What is the, if you say the milestone, what is the time duration of the milestone? The time duration will be always 0. That significant point is always 0 because it is just a name. It is just a significant event. So the significant event or name that you are saying, it will always have a milestone. And when milestone,
So in order to reach milestone, you would have already had
spend the time
spent on individual events or tasks,
yes
right? Yeah.
Correct. So that will be the duration that we will consider. But that particular event, so example, writing the exam is a time duration, preparing for exam is a time duration, doing the programming is a time duration. But what is finally you are going to achieve, that will be called as a milestone, which will have a 0 duration. Second thing, change request. What is a change request? Once the project has been baseline, the progressive elaboration of deliverables into activities may revert that was not initially part of the project baseline. This may result in a change request. Suppose what happened in the real life scenario, you are doing a building project. So what has happened? The owner, the stakeholder, he didn't like some ideas. So he says, okay, instead of this, we have to change it like this. I don't think that the stairs will be from the front side of the building. I want the stairs to be from behind the building. I don't want it to be from the front line. I just want it to be from the behind the building. Now, if you say it to be behind the building, now what will happen if you say behind the building? So there will be some changes that will be required. So it cannot be done like immediately. So a change request is generated. What is a change request? So it is change request means, okay, this activity will involve extra this amount of days. This will need extra this much amount of money. Both the parties should agree in paying the money, because see, if you have made an agreement or a contract for something, so that is fixed. Now in the traditional method or waterfall method or the regular projects, you don't want to change anything. Now suppose if it was written that, okay, this is what you have agreed. Now all of a sudden the project owner or the company owner or the building owner, he says, no, I'm not liking it, the stairs from the front, I'm liking the stairs from behind. So in that case, so that will be called as change request. So a change request is there, a change request is created, and then the people have to check. Generally for a small project, the project manager will check if he can do it or not, if it will involve extra money or not, if it will involve extra time or not. Those all things the project manager will check. But if it is a big project, if it's a big company, you're working for a big organization, then the project manager will pass this message, all the change requests, to whom? Either it depends from company to company. There is a project monitoring committee or 3-4 people are there in that committee. So he will pass the information to all of them and say, see, this is the request that is coming from the stakeholder. They want us to change the stairs from the front to the back. It will involve extra 8 days. It will involve extra this design change. It will involve extra this much amount of money. Should we do it or not? Then the project feasibility committee or the project steering committee or the project team member, whatsoever the company says, they will evaluate whether they should do it or not. If they should do it, how much money has to be asked from the customer, and if the customer is ready to know. So those things, it will be given after the change request. It will be given to the project manager, who will give it. If it's a small company, small work, a small project, a small change, he can decide himself. Otherwise, generally, he goes to the project steering committee and they have to agree, and both the parties need to agree. In some organization, there is a very big organization, there is a PMO office, project management office. So what will happen? The project manager has to pass this information with all the requests, details, everything to the project management office, who are a bigger like organization. They will look after various things, load calculation, design calculation, how much extra money will be done or not. Then they will make final decision whether this money we should charge from the customer or not. And if we should charge, how much we should charge, if the customer is agreeing or not. So it can go to the project management office also for the change request. See, generally in practical life, what happened? If, for example, you are building a project, so sometimes they ask, can you give one, like when we do the projects, industrial projects for building of factories for food. So sometimes what happened when they are doing the project, the other side, the customer side, they can ask, hello, I think if you can give me a pipeline here, as a pipeline here, then what will happen? That we will be able to, so what will happen in that case? If you want that particular act, so they will say that, okay, I want a tap point here. If you can give a tap point in this area, it will be great. So this is a small thing. It will involve some pipeline, it will involve some cost, but in practical aspect, to build a good term relationship, sometimes we don't have to ask these things. We will say okay, but what will happen even if we are doing that? So then the real design, the real drawing, when we are submitting to the customer what we have done, we will make sure that those updates are included. So the as-built drawing, it is called. So those are already included, and we don't charge money. We don't write to people and other thing for a small thing. But suppose if it's asking a big thing, which will involve time, huge amount of time or extra amount of money. So we have to inform either the project management office, if it's a very large organization, or to the project steering committee or project monitoring committee or a project team, whatsoever. So everybody can become aligned to each other and they can understand whether it should be done or not done. Then come project plan, management plan updates and other thing. Sequence activity, you already know. Sequence activity is the process of identifying and documenting relationship among the project activities. Which activity should be done first, which should be done later, and other thing. So key benefit of this process is it defines the logical sequence of work. This is a very important one. In the logical sequence, what should be done first, what should be done second. See, there you can do any activity by the way you want, but there is always a logical sequence, as in which scenario you should do, as in which scenario you should not do. So key benefit of this process, it defines the logical sequence of work to obtain the greatest efficiency given all project constants. Sequence activities. How you define the sequence activities based upon the plan. Now, important thing is coming. One is called precedence diagramming method. What is the precedence diagramming method? PDM. It is a technique used for constructing a schedule model in which activities are represented by nodes and graphically linked by one or more logical relationship to show the activity in which activities are to be performed. So we'll see here, we have seen this one. So activity A, activity B, activity A, activity B. So it will say that, okay, which activity will start, which activity will happen, like that. So this is the sequence activities. So precedence diagramming method, it tells which activity will be first, which activity will be second, and other thing. What is the predecessor activity? We told which will come first, successor activity which will come next. PDM includes 4 types of relationship: FS, FF, SS, SF. What does it mean? Finish to start. You don't have to like understand that this activity is finished to start or finished to finish. So from whichever field you are, you already will know. So example, if you are from the software industry, you cannot do the errors testing until unless you have done the coding completion, or example, if I'm not wrong. So that means the first activity, the coding of the program, the writing of the program needs to finish, then the other activity can start. So it is what type of relationship between 2 activities? Finish to start. One activity will finish, then the second activity will start. Similarly, the example they say, you cannot start an activity until unless another activity starts. So SS. So both the activities need to start together. Both the activities it needs to start together. There are many activities, SF and like this. So FS is the most commonly used type of precedence relationship. SF relationship is very rarely used, but so it is not like you have to memorize which is FS and which is FF, SS, SF. Whichever field you are, you will understand yourself clearly. that if this activity needs to finish for the another activity to start. Like example, I'm coming from the industrial background. So I know that the machine's installation needs to be completed before we can do the testing of the machine. So one activity needs to be finished before the another activity needs to start. Similarly, what will happen? Some activity can be done in parallel, two activities can be done together, two activities will finish together. So you will see those type of relationship in every example. So this one we did finish to start, finish to this. Example, installing the operating system on a PC cannot start until the PC hardware is assembled. Finish to finish, writing a document is required to finish before editing the document. Start to start, level concrete cannot begin until pour foundation begins. Start to finish, a new account payable system has to start before the old account payable system can be shut down. So there are different type of sequence activities that will come. So example, activity A, activity B. When activity A is finishing, then activity B is starting. Now, if you see activity A and activity B, both are in the same line. That means they will start on the same day. What does it mean? It means activity A and activity B both will start. Activity B can only start when activity A is starting, or activity A can only start when activity B is starting. So, but if with the arrow, you can say that activity B will start only when activity A has started. Similarly, in this one, activity A, activity B, when activity A will finish, then activity B will finish. Or in this one, when both of them are like activity A is starting and activity B is finishing. So different type of relationships you can see from the diagram and understand. There are major types of sequence dependencies, which we say there are 4 major types of dependencies. Logically, what is dependency? Dependency means you are dependent upon that state. These dependencies are legally or contractually required or inherent in the nature, which is called hard logic. In a construction project where it is impossible to erect the superstructure until the foundation has been built, this is a major dependency. You cannot start making the walls and everything until the foundation task has got completed. So what it is there? It is a major dependency. What is a discretionary dependency? Discretionary dependency means it's like a preferred way or logical way. It's not like compulsory. So example, in construction, generally accepted best practice recommended is that the electrical work should start after finish the plumbing work. So example, when we were in India, I used to listen this thing that most of the people get their flat buildings constructed generally in the monsoon season, in the rainy season. Why they would do it in the rainy season? Any idea? Generally, it's not like compulsory everybody has to make their home in rainy season only. But it used to be like people used to say that, no, you should get it built in a rainy season. Why? Any idea? Those from construction industry can think. Why generally people wanted to build a house in the rainy season before in the past?
Maybe to save the water for curing. I don't know.
Yeah. This is the correct answer actually. Okay. Because what happened? Cement, cement is what? It is a type of chemical that is used in the construction industry. So when you are doing this construction, when you are doing the civil work, when you are making the house, what will happen? Lot of heat is generated. When the cement, the curing of cement is an exothermic reaction. In chemistry, in a school, you may have studied endothermic reaction, exothermic reaction. So what is an exothermic reaction? A reaction in which heat is generated. So that is called exothermic. So cement, when it dries, it's an exothermic reaction. It generates heat. Now the heat generates and heat needs to get escape. So when the heat is getting escape, what it will happen? When the heat is getting escape and because of the heat, the plasters, the walls used to crack. Because in hot countries, I'm not talking about countries like which is very, very cold, like Canada or Sweden or Switzerland and so on. I'm talking about a normal Asian country or African country. So in a construction project, what it was used to be done. So they would say that, okay, since it releases lots of heat, there is a crack that happens, another thing. So generally they used to do it in the monsoon or the rainy season. So there is always rain is happening, water is happening. So automatically and naturally, the whole building would be getting like water. And then what will happen? All the heat will be coming out through the water and the cracks will not happen. The building will become more strong and everything. So this is a discretionary dependency. It's like just a preferred logic. It's not compulsory, not optional. If you want to do it, you do it. If you don't want to do it, you don't do it. So just it is a discretionary dependency. It depends upon you and nobody else. No external dependency. Some dependencies are not in the project team. It is based upon the external dependency. Suppose you are doing a project. In that project, you need to get a license from the government to start the construction. If you are doing some project, let us say in a government area or in some area where some permissions are required to start the work. No, it is called external dependency. If it is getting delayed, the project is getting delayed, something, but is it your fault? You will try, you will follow up, you will try your best. But this is called external dependency. What is an internal dependency? Generally inside the project team's control. If the team cannot test a machine until unless they assemble it. So it's an internal dependency. They are waiting for some spares to come to start. Or example, the company has brought it into the company. Now they have to shift the material to the project site. So they are waiting. So it's an internal dependency, which is within the company. So dependency determination, what will happen? So we did this. I don't know why it went. Leads and lag, I already explained you. A lead is the amount of time a successor activity can be advanced with respect to a predecessor activity, the head start. A lag is the amount of time a successor activity will be delayed with respect to a predecessor activity, that is wait time. Lead concrete set for 3 days before building, FS plus 3 days. This is what I said. Project management information system. Like what is PMIS? PMIS are those scheduling software which helps in the project activities. So there are, what I know, it is MS Project and Primavera. There could be other, every company can have their own different ways. So project management information system. No, PSDN, project schedule network diagram. As I said, in the project management, there are two things that is considered the toughest. One is called the PSDN. PSND, project schedule network diagram, or simply we call it the network diagram. Just a minute, I'll take a break. 1 minute, just a break. Somebody is ringing. Please read this page. I'm sorry. So project scheduling network diagram, it is a very good method of calculating the timeline and which activity and how much activity. And it's one of the very easy topic Actually, people, I don't know, if you go online, they make it as a big rumor that it is tough and everything. Now you will see it is so easy. Activities that have multiple predecessor activities includes a path convergence. What is a convergence means? Where everything will meet, correct? So that is a convergence, point will meet. What is a divergence? From which activities will come out. So example, normal thing I'm saying. After you have done your engineering or graduation, whatever stream you come from, so no many path divergence will happen. You can start working in a company. You can start you can start your own business, and there are many activities. So this is like a path divergence. And what is the path convergence? For achieving something, you have to do a lot of different activities. So those will be the path convergence. Suppose if we are talking about the project, now for building, handing over a project, a construction project, let us say, to the customers. So what are the different things? You have to make sure the walls are built properly, the licenses are done, the painting is done, the plumbing is done. All of these activities will converge before combine at a point. Then only you can hand over the key to the customer. So that is a path convergence. Path divergence, you can understand from one activity, you can do multiple activities afterward. That will be called a path divergence. Activities with divergence and convergence are at greater risk as they are activated by multiple activities or can affect multiple activities. What will happen? So example, why this is greater risk? Suppose you are waiting for one activity to finish or another activity to finish, then only you can start another one. Since you are dependent on different activities, if it's a convergence scenario, then what will happen? If one of the component is delayed, your whole project is getting delayed. Suppose there are 5 activities that converge at a point, A, B, C, D, E. Suppose A, B, C, D are on time, but E activity is delayed. So your whole project will be getting delayed because you cannot move ahead until unless that thing is there, because A, B, C, D, E combine at a point, and from that point they will become F. When we will see the next activity, you will understand it clearly. So example, if this particular chart, if you see, this is beginning here, a project is beginning here, and this is ending here. So please try to read this. So this project is beginning here. So from here, 3 points are diverging. Please understand, read the word. 3 points are diverging from this point. Activity A is starting, activity H is starting, and activity K is starting. Is it clear? Diverging means, is it clear? Please ask any small dot also, because this should be very, very clear.
It's clear.
Yeah. So activity A, activity H, activity K. So when you will begin this activity, from activity, the project start, there are 3 divergent points, point A, point H, point K. Now forget about what are the words and other thing. So from A, you will go to B. From H, if you see from H, there are divergent point, 2 divergent point, C and F. So now please try to identify the divergent and convergent point.
H is a divergent point. Convergent point is B, C.
So if you see activity H, from activity H, activity C, activity F, so you can understand. So example, if you see at point C has a two convergent point, activity B, activity H, correct? These are convergent. It's easy to understand, don't worry, convergent, divergent point. This is just to explain you. Now estimate activity duration. How you estimate the activity duration? Estimate activity duration is the process of estimating the number of work periods needed to complete individual activities with estimated resources. You remember we were doing one Excel sheet. We were saying, oh, right, this particular work will take 3 days. This particular work will take with 2 electricians, 6 days, with 2 electricians, 4 days, like this. So what is this? You are estimating the activity duration. What is this estimate activity duration? It is the process of estimating the number of work periods needed to complete individual activities with estimated resources. The key benefit of this process is it provides the amount of time each activity will take to complete. So this is simple. Estimate activity duration. For estimating the activity duration, you need project management plan, project document, and all those things. What are the tools and techniques? Expert judgment. See, example, if I know a particular thing, example, I am from a particular industry, I know how many days a particular activity can take. So I can give you an expert judgment that this particular machine installation will take this much time. This particular machine will take this much time because of my knowledge and expertise in that particular industry. But if somebody asks me about, let us say, a civil work, I may not be knowing. They ask me for a programming, I may not be knowing. So expert judgment is somebody who is into an expert into that particular field. You can always ask as how much time it will take. So based upon that, you can fix that time limit and how much time, how many resources will be needed. Second thing is analogous estimating. I think we have done this. Estimating the duration or cost of an activity or a project using historical data from a similar activity or project. The fastest and easiest estimated method to give a rough estimation. So example, what will happen? If somebody will ask you, example, somebody asks, in how many days you think this particular machine will be built? So from my experience, I know it can take 10 days. So it will take around 10 days. What I'm saying, I'm just saying that the similar project was done. It took 10 days. So it will take more or less approximately 10 days. Will it exactly take 10 days? No, it's not compulsory that it is going to take exactly 10 days. It can vary. It can take 12 days. It can take 8 days. The challenges could be different and everything, but it is just a rough estimate. It is an analogous estimating method with when there is a limited amount of detailed information available, you get. So if somebody asks me, example, that if I want to visit, let us say Calcutta, how much money will be required? So I will say that, see, it depends upon how much you are going to spend, how many people are there. So if somebody asks, no, example, me and my wife plans to go to Calcutta, how much time and how many days? So I'll say, see, Calcutta, you can visit in 5 days, all the places in and around Calcutta. And if you are living in a, let us say, example, in a 4-star hotel, you will hardly spend 25,000 rupees in your trip, and you will have all the food, all the thing in and around Calcutta. So I'm just saying analogous estimating. So the person may ask, how do you know that? I can say, actually, what happened? One of my relative and his wife came and visited for 5 days. They spent around this much amount of money. So that is what. Is it really going to happen? Maybe they were eating something and the new person will be, the family would be eating different thing. But what it is just to make a rough estimate, a rough approximate idea. So this is an analogous estimate method. It is less costly and less time consuming than other technique, but it is also less accurate. Estimation is least reliable, as no two projects are identical. A gross value estimating approach, also known as top-down estimating. I explained what is top-down estimating and a bottom-up estimating. What is a top-down estimating? So somebody has 20,000 rupees, let us say, and then he asks, okay, I have 20,000 rupees in this trip. What all I can do? Then you say, okay, you spend 10,000 on accommodation, 4,000 on this. So I'm doing what? I'm going top-down. Similarly, I can go bottom-up estimating. What is a bottom-up estimating? You add a small thing and you come up with a number. So that is called a bottom-up estimating. Heavily reliant on the expert judgment of the user. Dependency, I think we did this. Now we comes to parametric estimating. This is also we have done, but we will explain. The estimation is based on adjusting the parameters from historical information. The estimation is more reliable. What happens? Example. So example, So what is a parametric estimating in a parametric? So when you say parametric estimation, this estimate is based on adjusting the parameters from historical information. So an algorithm is used to calculate cost. So what happened? What is the parametric estimating? So somebody asks you, okay, how much this project is going to cost? So you say, see, my family, my friends, they stayed for 5 days, they spent 25,000. As you are planning to stay 10 days, it will be 50,000. So you are using a parameter. You are multiplying from that historical information. You are coming out by scaling the difference or multiplying it like that. So if somebody asks you, okay, for 5 days, 25,000 rupees were spent by a family of 2 to visit Calcutta. Now let us say if somebody asks, okay, if it is not a 5, no, I don't want to spend 5 days. I have only 2 days. So what I will say, I'll say, okay, 10,000 rupees. So when I say 10,000 rupees, it's also a parametric estimating. So because I have used a historical data and then I am telling it. So these are ways of estimating, calculating the timeline or the money or anything. Now, what is the difference between analogous estimating and a parametric estimating? Analogous estimating is considered a top-down approach, which is much less accurate than parametric estimating, in which analogous estimating is based on a simple ideology or analogy. Parametric estimating is more accurate for project activities component which are similar and scalable. It is based on unit cost per duration from historical data, which is scaled to give the estimation. Analogous estimating is used early in the project where there is a limited amount of information available, while parametric estimation is based upon the project. If the project is scalable, that means you can use the same theory, scalable. Now comes 3-point estimating. We have already done this. So the 3-point estimating is what? TM, most likely. TO, optimistic. TP, pessimistic. So what is TM, most likely? So you say, example, I asked, Mr. Edison, how much time you take to reach your office? So he says, see, if it is the best condition, there is no traffic, anything, I can reach in 20 minutes. So what he's telling me, he's telling the optimistic, the best case scenario estimate of the activity. So I will say TO is 20 minutes. And he says, see, sometime, there is heavily traffic in Philippines. So maybe I will reach in 50 minutes. Sometime if there is a heavy traffic. So he is being pessimistic. The worst case scenario, 50 minutes. Then I asked him, no, Mr. Edison, on an average, tell me when it's like average. I'm not asking the best condition or the worst. He said, on an average, 30 minutes you can consider, most likely on an average. So there are 2 methods of calculation. First is called the triangular distribution, which is very, very easy. What you do, there are 3 numbers. You add all the 3, take an average and say, this is a triangular distribution. Second is beta distribution, where TO plus TP plus 4TM, that means optimistic plus pessimistic, plus giving 4 times more weightage to the most likely time. So you have 6 data. 4 plus 1, 5 plus 1, 6. So you divide by 6. You are doing still an average. The weightage of 4TM comes from a statistical origin using historical data. The probability of the estimate will be closest to the TM, and the formula should reflect this. This concept originated with the program evaluation and review technique, PERT technique. So these are the 2. We have already done the calculations in the thing. So you have to, I've shared the Word file with the calculation. So please practice. 1 or 2 questions can definitely be coming from this one. They will clearly
Can you explain 1 second?
Yeah, sure. It is good to so see, this was the question, range of expected activity. So example, a project has an optimistic value of 5 weeks, a pessimistic value of 20 weeks, and a most likely value of 10 weeks. So find expected activity duration. Or so what we will done, optimistic plus pessimistic plus 4 times of most likely. In the real exam scenario, they will ask you if it is not written. Generally, we use a beta method only. But if it is mentioned, find by the this method. What is the method? Another method name. Triangular distribution. Then you just take an average. But if it is not mentioned, generally it is taken is the beta distribution method. So what you are doing, optimistic, it is saying in the optimistic condition, it is taking 5 weeks. In the pessimistic condition, it is taking 20 weeks. And most likely, it is going to take 10 weeks. In some exam books, I've seen that instead of most likely, it is also written average. So it is same thing. Average value or most value is 10 weeks. So what is the formula? If you see this formula, the formula is what? TO plus TP plus 4TM by 6. So one of the participant was doing, has put a marker. So if somebody can explain me how to put, I can maybe do calculation here only, but I don't know actually. Is it anode?
When are we doing beta distribution? When are we supposed to do triangular distribution, and why
So,
beta?
yeah. So when you want to be like more accurate with your estimation, you want to be more accurate. Your accuracy is very, very important. Then that time you will use beta distribution. When you are just asking rough estimate, somebody is asking approximately rough estimate, then you do triangular distribution. So when you want to be very much sure about the result, where you want to be very much sure about the timeline and everything, you will use beta distribution because it is most reliable in the terms of estimation. But still you remember this is an estimation method. See what will happen if you do a project initially. So what you will do, you cannot generally what happens if you are doing a construction project, you will not do first floor building this, first floor painting this. Those things will come at a later stage. But when you start initially the project, so what you will say, you will use either the triangular distribution or beta distribution method to estimate the time from the previous. So you will say, okay, so generally if you are more, then you will go for the beta distribution method, which is like it is giving more importance to the most likely. So if we say 10 optimistic, so what is the question here? Optimistic, it is saying in the best condition 5 weeks, so it becomes 5. Pessimistic is 20 weeks, so 20 plus 5 becomes 25. And then it is saying most likely 10 weeks. So 4 into 10, 40. So 40 plus 20, 60, 60 plus 5, 65. And how many numbers are there? How many data is there? 6. So 65 divided by 6 becomes 10.83. So by the beta distribution method, the timeline, expected activity duration, EAD, or estimated activity duration will become 10.83. So this is the beta distribution. It comes from program evaluation and review technique. I explained you bottom-up estimating. You keep on adding a small thing to come to a number. So example, if somebody asks, okay, I want to do the renovation of my building, flat, how much it will cost? So they will say, okay, for renovation of kitchen, 1,000, renovation of washroom, 1,000, renovation of furniture, 3,000, renovation of this, 2,000, painting this, 3,000. So you add up all the number and you come up with a calculation. So it will come bottom-up estimation. Please note this is most time consuming because you are adding each activity, but it is also most accurate. In a bottom-up estimating, it is most time consuming because you will take all the activities, but it is also most accurate. So we will take a break. Let us say we come back after 18 minutes and we will start. So maybe we have to, so is it okay if we take a break now, 17, 18 minutes?
Sure, sir.
Okay. Is everyone back? Is everyone back?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Available.
Estimate activity duration we were doing, and we were doing data analysis, alternative analysis. What is alternative analysis? It is used to compare various level of resource capability or skills, different tools, make, rent. So what happened? Example, if you want to do a particular work in your project, so you are thinking it will take 5 days. So you think it will involve lots of resources, money, everything. Instead of doing that, let's give it our sources, ask somebody else to do it. So this is like an alternative analysis. You make decisions whether we should make it, whether we should rent it, whether we should buy it, whether we should do manual, whether we should do automation. So those things are all alternative analysis. You look after different options, which will allow the team to determine the best approach for accomplishing the project work. Now comes reserve analysis. There are two important reserve analysis that we have to understand. This is also for time and also for money. So one is called contingency reserve and the another is called management reserve. So first I will explain you the management reserve. I think I already explained you, but again I am saying. So management reserve is what? Suppose for a particular project, $1 million is allocated. Let us say $10 million is allocated for a particular project. Now the management understands from their experience, generally the project gets delayed. So example, $10 million is allocated for a project and 10 months are allocated for the project. $10 million and 10 months are allocated for the project. So the management, the leaders, they know that this project can get delayed because of the last time real challenges, real time scenarios and other things. So they tell to the project manager, see, we have got $9 million. And what is the money amount? It can vary. Somebody can say 9 and can give 10. Somebody can say 8. So it depends from company to company. But on an average, people think from 5% to 10%, they say, and the management keep it as a reserve. So they will, instead of giving the whole $10 million to the project manager or saying that there is $10 million for this project, because in the end, lots of news comes, lot of surprises come. So what they say that instead of giving $10 million, we have just $9 million that we have got from the owners or the investors. So we have to complete the job in $9 million. So why they have kept $1 million with themselves? So this $1 million that they have kept with themselves is called as the management reserve. They don't keep it for corruption, that this is the pocket money. This is done in order to make sure that the project manager understands his limitation and he completes the job in that particular time limit or that particular money limit. And in case he is struggling with time. So in case if the project is getting delayed or the project is not meeting the timeline, then what will happen? Then in that case, they can say that the project has still some buffer or $1 million or something that the management will support the project manager. So example, the project manager used $9 million and let us say he has completed 95% of the activities done. For the remaining 5%, he still needs some money. So he goes to the management and asks the management to release some money or something. The management, for sure, they are not going to release the money easily. They are going to say, you are the project manager. We already told you. That means you have not done the job properly. You should have made sure that the resources are allocated properly. You are using the resources correctly. So after giving all the thing, they will release the amount of money because that was the initial intended target, that in case the project manager fails, then they are going to support them. So this is for the money. So this is called management reserve. Now it can be for the time also. If the board of directors or the owners, they say this project needs to be completed in 10 months. They can say, see, we want the project to be completed in 9 months. They will keep 1 month for themselves so that in case the project manager doesn't complete in 9 months, at least because he will try his best to complete in 9 months. But in case if there is again some problem, he can always get the support. He can always come back to the management and ask to release some extra time. So that is why it is called management reserve. So withheld for management control purpose, they are for unknown unknowns. Unknown unknowns means the last minute challenges, something which has not been calculated in the past, something which were not in the unforeseen situation that falls within the scope of the project. These are held outside the scheduled baseline, but within the project schedule. As the project evolves, the reserve must be monitored via reserve analysis. So this is called management reserve. Now, as a project manager, you got $9 million. So you set a target for yourself that, see, I've got $9 million. I need to make sure that I complete this project, let us say in $8.5 million. Because I don't want to go to the management because they will understand that I'm not able to do the job properly. So I will try my best to complete the job in $8.5 million. So $500,000, this particular project manager is keeping as a buffer, as a reserve. In case he will fail, he will use that $0.5 million. So this is called contingency reserve. For example, it can be also for the time limit. So example, the management tells them to do the work in 9 months. So he will think that, okay, 9 months, I will make sure that I complete it 8 months, 20 days only. So that I have the time, I have still some buffer time. He will do or not do that, the time will tell. But generally, it is planned like that. So this is called contingency reserve. Contingency reserve is with the project manager. Why he keeps it like this? So that some known unknowns or for identified risk, something happens, at least he will be able to complete the project in the timeline phase. So this is called contingency reserve. So is it clear between the contingency reserve and management reserve? What is the basic difference? Is it compulsory? No, it's optional. If you want to keep. If you don't want to, don't keep. It depends from companies to company. So is it clear, contingency reserve and management reserve? What is the basic difference? So both of them are keeping some extra time limit, extra money, so that in case they are not able to complete it on time, they still are in the safe zone. Now decision making. Decision making is either through voting or decision making in board of directors, or this type of decision making happen. Generally by voting. And what is voting? In voting, how many people vote based upon their scenario. In agile approach, it is done through method called fist of 5, which we'll see. So example, whichever people are voting more, like there are 10 members and 6 members voted in one direction. So that will be considered a majoritarian decision, and then the project will be done like that. Now estimate activity duration outputs. Duration estimate, the quantitative assessment on the likely number of time period that are required. Basis of estimate, it indicates which estimating method was used, documents all assumption and control. So when we are developing the schedule, it is the process of analyzing the sequence activities, durations, resource equipment, schedule constants to create a schedule model for project execution and monitoring and control. The key benefit of this process is it generates a schedule model with planned dates for complete project activities. So when you are developing the schedule, the required things are project management plan, project documents, agreement. What is an agreement? Agreement between the parties and other thing. Vendors may have input to the project schedule as they develop the details of how they will perform the project work to meet contractual commitments, enterprise environment factors, organizational process assets, schedule network analysis or schedule network diagram, which is a numerical thing that we are going to do. I think 2-3 people have still not joined, so maybe they join in the timeline. Okay, so schedule network analysis. It employs several other techniques such as the critical path method, resource optimization technique, modeling techniques, path convergence, divergence. It is an iterative process which is employed until a viable solution model is achieved. What is a critical path method? I already explained. Critical path method is used to estimate the minimum project duration, how you will find the minimum project duration, and determine the amount of schedule flexibility on the logical network path within the schedule model. This schedule network analysis technique calculates early start, early finish, late start, late finish for all activities without regard to any resource limitation by performing either a forward pass or a backward pass. What is forward pass and backward pass? If you remember, I told there is an activity of painting and cleaning and it takes 5 days. Suppose it starts on 12th of May when the activity is going to get completed. So some of you in the beginning said 17, but what in the forward pass we have to do? 12 plus 5, 17 minus 1, 16. So what we are doing in forward pass? So we are saying it will take 5 days. So first rule is what? You either count day by day 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, so 5 days. But in real life, there are hundreds of things. You can't just open the calendar and say other thing. So what is the general thing? You do a forward pass. In forward pass, what you do? So if they say there is a 5 days, it will take. So it's simple. If it starts on 12 and it takes 5 days, so 12 plus 5, 17. But we have to understand that the work started from the initial day, which we are saying 12. So 12 plus 5, 17 minus 1. So you will come at the exact number. Now let us do one more question. Suppose an activity takes 9 days. Suppose an activity takes 9 days and it starts on 17. So what is the time limit that you think that the work will get completed? Suppose it starts on 17th of May. It takes 9 days when the activity will get completed. So what we can do? What is the number?
25.
25. So one is like you calculate 1, 2, 3. This will take long time. So 17 plus 9, which is 26 minus 1. So this is called 25. So the activity will finish on 25. This is called a forward pass analysis. Is it clear to everybody? Forward pass analysis. Simple it is. How many days it is saying you add that and just subtract minus 1. Because you have to also consider that one. That's why we are subtracting. Is it clear? Let's say an activity starts on 3rd of May. It takes 7 days. So when it is going to finish?
3 plus 7 minus 1.
Yeah, 3 plus 7 minus 1. So 3 plus 7, 10 minus 1, 9. So this is called forward analysis, forward path analysis or forward analysis. Now the same thing when we do in the reverse way, that is called backward analysis. So we will think an activity is finishing on 9 and this activity has taken 7 days. So when the activity should have started? The previous question, I'm just rechanging the word. If you remember, we said an activity starts on 3 and it takes 7 days. So when it is completing, so you said 3 plus 7, 10 minus 1, 9. Now I am saying the opposite thing. I am saying an activity has finished on 9th of May and the duration is 7 days. The duration is 7 days. So when it is started, we will do the backward pass. Instead of telling the start time, I'm giving you the finishing time. I'm saying it finished on 9th of May and it took 7 days for the work to complete. When the work is started, so generally what people do, so they say, okay, if it is started, it finished on 9 and it took 7 days. So 9 minus 7 is 2. But the work, did it start on 2? No. So if you are going forward, you were subtracting minus 1. If you are going backward, you are going to add plus 1. So if you say, if the activity started, finished on 9 and it took 7 days, then by backward pass method, it is started on, so 9 minus 7, 2, 2 plus 1, 3. So it is started on 3rd of May. Is it clear? Please ask if there is any small dot in both the, yeah. Please do one more question. Suppose an activity finished on 18th of May and it took 6 days. When did the work start?
18 plus 6, 18 minus 6 plus 1.
Yeah, so when it started?
18 minus 6 is 12, 12 minus 1 is 7.
13, yes. So anybody has any confusion? Please ask. Forward analysis and backward analysis. If you are getting confused, you can also count on the calendar or on your fingers. But in real life, it can be many days, not 4 days, 5 days, 10 days. It can be many days. then you can't open the calendar and just keep on checking. So what is the easy way? When you are going by forward pass analysis, you say, okay, if it starts on 12, it takes 7 days. So 12 plus 7, 19, and minus 1, because the day it started, that is also considered. So 12 plus 7, 19, minus 1, 18. So 18 days. So it is clear, the forward pass analysis and the backward pass analysis, it is to find the timeline in developing the schedule. We said critical path has 0 float. In the example, the longest path include activity ACT, and therefore the sequence of activity ACT is the critical path. The longest path is the critical path and has 0 float. We already explained. We will see. Now comes the numerical part, which is very, very important. One question we will do it together on an Excel sheet, and the other question you all have to do it yourself. Okay. So free float and other thing, the critical path method is used to calculate the critical path and the amount of total and free float. Float. What is the float? Example, if you remember this Excel sheet in which we were saying Mr. Edison started at 10:20. He took 30 minutes. He reached 10:50 minutes. So he has 10-minute float. So if he started early, he reached early. If he started late, he reached as late. So that is there. So what is the formula of calculating the float? The float can be calculated at late start minus early start in the start, or you can start by late finish minus early finish. This is just theoretical thing. If you see in practical life, so late start minus early start, or late finish minus early finish. So late start minus, what was the formula? Late start minus early start. So if Mr. Edison, the late that he can start is 10:30, because he will take 30 minutes. So 10:30 is the late start. Early when he can start anytime, but we are assuming, let us say, he starts at 10. So what is the total float? Late start minus early start, so 30 minutes. Suppose he starts today at 10:10 and he reaches, let us say, at 10:40. So how will we find the float? So we'll say late start minus early start. So late start, what is start? 10:40. Early start today 10:10. So 40 minus 10, so 30 again. So the formula is late start minus early start is the float, or late finish minus early finish. You can use whichever you want to use. Now comes the most important chapter part in this topic. It is called the how to develop the schedule and find the thing. So it is called network diagram, or you can call it as a how to do this through the critical path amount of time when we are calculating, how to find the with the network diagram. So example, how you have to understand, we will read this. I will just do it on this Excel sheet, and then. So before we go, I will give you one question to understand.
Sir, can you give that example of late float minus early float?
Yeah, we will do it on we will do the question. It will become clear. I'm not finding. Let me explain you on this one only, and then I will send that question, which question I wanted to do. So please take on a new Excel sheet, everybody, or you can take out a paper pen. I can do it on paper pen. Generally, best is to do on paper pen only. But since So there are, see, this is being done for 4 activities. In real life, there can be 500 activities, correct? So if you have MS project, everything, it will calculate automatically. But as you should know, what is this all activity about? So I'm saying there are 4 activities. Activity A, and activity A, it takes 5 days. How many days it takes? Activity A, 5 days. Don't you see here where what I'm telling you? Activity A takes 5 days. Any activity, let us say plastering takes 5 days, painting takes fast week, making the wall takes 5 days. Now it is saying activity A takes 5 days. Activity B and C will start. Please listen to the question. Activity A takes 5 days. Activity B and C will start only when activity A has finished. Activity B, activity C, it will only start. Activity B and C will only start when it will start. Activity B and C when it will start. Activity B and C will only start when activity A has finished. That means activity A, that is why if you see here from activity A, B and activity C, and you see both are in a straight line. I have also made it in the straight line. What I'm saying, activity B and activity C will only start when activity A will finish, and activity A is taking 5 days. Suppose activity B also takes 5 days and activity C takes 10 days. It is given in the question. Activity A takes 5 days, activity B takes 5 days, activity C takes 10 days. Now for the activity D, the question is saying activity D will only start when both B and C will finish. Activity D will only start, the word is only start, when both B and C will finish. And its total time duration for D is 15 days. So what all data is given? There is question is given. There are 4 activities: activity A, activity B, activity C, and activity D. So there are 4 different activities: A, B, C, and D. And in the question, it is given activity A takes 5 days, activity B takes 5 days, activity C takes 10 days, activity D takes 15 days. And it is mentioned in the question that activity B and C will start only when activity A will finish, and activity D will start only when B and C will finish. This is given in the question. Now, if these questions are given, we have to find what? When the project can early start, when the project can early finish. So if you see this particular chart, this activity duration, so early start, duration, early duration, activity name, late start, initial, total float, late finish. So all these informations are missing. All these information are missing. Only thing is what it is given: activity A, activity B, activity C, activity D, and it is the relationship is giving. Activity B and C will start only when activity A is finished. Activity D will only start when B and C both will finish. So that is the setup that has been made there. Activity A, activity B, activity C, activity D. The time limit is already defined. A will take 5 days. B will take 5 days. C will take 10 days. And D will take 15 days. Clear? Only this much I'm saying you to do now. Now we have to do a chart like this. So I'm making an Excel sheet which shows all the sides, all borders. Here also I will do all borders. Now here also I will make like this, all the lines. See, if any date is not given, when the project can earliest start? On the day 1. If no date is given, when the project can start? On 1. Or any activity will start on day 1 only. So you have written day 1. So early start is day 1. So if it is starting on 1 and it is taking 5 days, when you think it will get completed? Please tell. Please everybody respond one by one, please. If you find it different. So if it starts on 1st, it takes 5 days. When it is going to finish? We just did no forward pass.
1 plus 5.
1 plus 5, no. The 1 plus 5 minus 1.
5, sir.
Yeah, 5. So it will on 5. So this 1 and 5, these are data that was not given. We have given it ourselves. That is why, just to make a different look, I am just putting another color, 1 and 5. Activity, no, 1 and 5 and 5. This is, we have found this one, activity 5. Now, please understand, this is a very good logical thing to understand. And once you understand, these things become very, very easy. Now, what is the thing? What was the question saying? Activity B and C can only start when activity A can finish. Now, activity A is finishing on 5. So when can activity B start? This is the early start. This is the duration. So it can start on 6th. Correct, sir. So it will start on 6th. Okay. So 6 plus 5, 11. 11 minus 1.
10.
Correct. Now for this one, you see it is finishing on 5. And the question said B and C will only start when activity A will start, finish. So activity A is finishing on 5. So it will start on 6. So 6 plus 10, 16 minus 1, 15.
15.
Now this question is very important to do. Now, what was the part question saying? Activity D will only start when both B and C has finished. Activity D will only start when both B and C has finished. So when you think, what will be the date here?
16.
The longest one is the activity
Yeah,
C.
16. So generally people say 11 because they say here. It is correct. You can start on 11 only. But the question said B and C will, when D will only start when both B and C will finish. So even though on 10 the activity B is completed, but you have to wait for the activity C to get completed before you start the activity D. So even though it is written 10, it's not going to be 11. It's going to be 16. So this 10 we wrote ourselves. This 6 we wrote ourselves. This 6 we wrote ourselves. This 15 we wrote ourselves. And this 16 we wrote ourselves. Now if you have written this, 16 plus 15 is how much? 31.
31.
31 minus 1. 30. So this becomes your 30. So this is the late finish date is 30. So whatever is your late finish date. So early forward pass is clear. 1, 5, 5, 6, 5, 10. In the real exam, these all one, whatever I am writing, this will not be written. Only the duration will be written and the relationship will be written. Activity A takes 5 days, B takes 5 days, C takes 10 days, D takes 15 days. Now you find the timeline or something like this. So activity A 5 days, B 5 days, C 15 days, D C. So if it has started, it finished on 30. So when the activity D should finish? The early finish is 30 and late finish will be also what? 30, because it cannot be 31 because it has to, if you see, it is in the same line. Same line means it is finishing together. So 30, if it finishes, starts early and finishes early, that means on 30 it can be started late as well. So 30 becomes the late start. Now we'll go backward analysis. So this is what is late start minus late finish. So late finish we have found. Now we have to find the late start. So what is late start? Time, please tell. So if it finishes on 30, it took 15 days. When the maximum it could have started? (30 minus 15). 15 plus 1.
16.
Clear? So if this is 16, then the lowest time will be what? 15 days. 15. And here if it is 16, the lowest time will be again
15.
15. So now we will, okay, now this is there. Now you know 15. So this is font, 10. Now if it is here, 15 minus 10, 5, 5 plus 15 minus 10, 5, 5 plus 1.
6.
Okay.
Sir, I didn't follow that.
No problem. I will explain it again.
The bottom
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. It's very good that you didn't understand. I'll explain it again now. So activity A, activity B, activity C, activity D. There are 4 activities. Forward pass you understood, sir. A, how 155 we wrote 655.
Yeah. That,
So that is
that,
good.
yeah.
So now if you see this chart, what it is saying, both are finishing together only, correct? If you see, both are finishing together. So if it is finishing on 30, then in early finish it is finishing 30. So late finish will be also what? 30 only.
30.
Because it is on the same line, 30, 30. So 30 minus 15, that is the duration. Time duration is 15 days, it is written. So 30 minus 15, so people will write 15, but the real answer is it will start on 16, because this is the late start, this is the late finish, and another thing, total float. So we'll forget float, another thing. Now, so 30 minus 15, 15, 15 plus 1, 16. 16 minus 15, 11. 16 minus 15. 16 minus 15 what? 11.
5.
11 minus 5, 10. 10 plus 1, 11. Because in the backward pass, we add. So this is clear. This all data is clear how this data came. Now we have to find the float. The formula of float is either you subtract late finish minus early finish. So late finish is 30, early finish is 30. So what is the float here? 30 minus 30, 0. Now we do it for again for here, late finish, early finish. 15 minus 10, 5. So this is the float is 5 days. Here we see again 15 minus 15. Late finish minus 15 minus 15. So this is 0. So we found the float. So for float, I am putting different color. I am putting, let us say, pink. Okay. Or maybe spray. So okay. So 16 minus what happened? Sorry. So you got the float here 0. Here you got float as 0. Here you got 15 minus 10, 5. So 5 is the float. So here you got 5 as float. Okay. Now we reached up to this point. Now if you see, this is early start is 11, and here early start is late finish. Late start is 11, and here late start is 6. So what should be the day here?
Ten.
So 11 is here, and here it is 6. So
Sir,
it will be
6 minus
10.
no, it will be 5. See, when we were going ahead, why it is saying it will be 5? Why it will be 5? Because late start is 6 here, and here late start is 11. So what is the lowest late start? 6. So we will take 6 minus 1, 5. So the early finish will be here 5. 5. If you see here, it was coming. So here, when we were going forward, 10, and it was 15. So we took 16. When we were going forward, the bigger one. When you are going backward, you take the smaller one, the opposite. So 5. Now what is, now 5 minus 5? 0.
0.
plus
2
1.
plus 1. 1. So it will also, this is the 1. Now, what is the float? 5 minus 5?
0.
So this 0 is the float here. Now we are left with, so if you see here, A, B, D, C. So if we see A, there are 3 paths. You can go from A to B, B to D. A, B, D. How much time A to B to D is taking? So A to B is taking 5 days, plus 5 days, 10 days, plus 15 days, 25 days. Is it clear? A to B, and this is the duration, 5 days, 5 days, 15 days. So B is ABD is taking how many days? ABD is taking 25 days. Now we will do for ACD. ACD. ACD is taking how many days? 5 days plus 10, 15 days, 15 plus 15, 30 days. So activity ABD is taking 25 days. Activity ACD is taking 30 days. Which is bigger time in 25 and 30? 30 days. So ACD becomes the critical path. So if you are calculating the timeline, if you have to give the timeline to anybody, you will see for a completing activity ACD, it will need 30 days. Is it clear? Please read it once again and please try to do it yourself also. Meanwhile, I'm trying to find another question that I have to give you, but please check it. I will also save it and share on the group. This is on. Okay, is it clear? Should I repeat it again one time? Any confusion?
Sir, can you please repeat backward, sir, again?
Yeah, I will repeat everything again. Okay.
One more thing is that CPM, critical path
method, yeah.
We consider as like a where we don't find float zero, like zero.
Yeah. So another thing, sir, in critical path method, there is no float. If you see here, zero float, zero float, zero float, correct? In the first one, you see there is some float is there. In A, B and D, there is a float 0, 5, 0. But if you see in the critical path, there is zero float 0, 0, 0.
This is also one of the method we can determine.
Yes, correct, sir. This is one of the method to determine also. So you understood this one. So what we are going to do, we are going to do it again. In 5 minutes, I will explain it again. There are 4 activities, activity A, activity B, activity C, activity D. Suppose the 4 activities A, B, C, D, activity A takes 5 days, activity B takes 5 days, activity C takes 10 days, activity D takes 15 days, and Now the relationship is built up. What is the relationship saying? Activity B and C will only start when activity A will finish. Activity B and C will only start when activity A will finish. Activity D will only start when both B and C are finished. This is given in the question. So now based upon the question, you have to say how much duration it will be calculated. So any duration, if it is given or not, suppose if it says in the question, if it starts on 7th of May, if example it is written, it starts on 7th of May, then you calculate everything and whatever days will come, you replace that with day. But if it's not given, because in the PMP syllabus, it will not be given any date or anything like that. I'm just assuming one step ahead. So I'm saying if it's not given, you will assume that it starts on the day 1 or any activity when it will start, it will be considered first day. So first day it start and this activity has taken 5 days. Duration is 5 days. So going by forward pass, so early start is 1. So the early finish will be 1. And how much? So we'll say 1 plus 5, 6. 6 minus 1, 5. Now for activity B, activity A is finishing on 5. So activity B should start on 6th. 6 plus 5, 11. 11 minus 1, 10. Similarly, activity A finish on 5. So it should start on 6. 6 plus 10, 16. 16 minus 1, 15. Now comes a critical condition. It is saying activity D will start only when both B and C has finished. So B finished on 10th, C is finishing on 15th. So even though B finished on 10th, you cannot start the work because there is a condition, there is a constraint that you can only start when both B and C have finished. So they say, okay, if both B and C has finished, then only you can start that activity. So activity A is finishing on 10th and activity C is finishing on 15th. So if what we will do, so it will not be 10 plus 1, 11, but it will be 15 plus 1, 16. So 16th, it will start. 16 and then it is taking 15 days. 16 plus 15, 31 minus 1, 30. So it will finish on 30th day. So if we know...
Mr. Fasi,
yes.
This one, what we are adding, it's like the next day. Am I right? 15 days, C finishes and B finishes.
Yes, sir, it is the next day. So it is finishing on...
Okay.
Yeah, it is finishing and then the next day the activity is going to start.
Thank you.
Yeah. So if it is finishing on 30, so we will assume that because both are finishing, activity D is finishing 30. So if 30 is the early finish, so we will assume that it is late finish is also 30. So now we are going to go backward. So 15 days is the duration.
Why are we considering 30 as the late finish?
Because sir, in this one, if you see, if this path is saying activity, because D is the activity when activity is finishing. Activity D is taking 15 days and it is finishing. So it is going to finish by that time, the last day. That last day will be the same day.
Okay.
Here.
Okay.
Yeah. So 30. So 30 minus 15, 15. 15 plus 1, 16. Now we will find the float. There are two methods to calculate float. Late finish minus early finish. So 30 minus 30 becomes 0. Another method is late start minus early start. So 16 minus 16. Still answer will be same 0. Now it is 16. It is finishing. So the late finish here would be 15. Late finish 15. So 15 minus 5, 10. 10 plus 1, 11. Now we want to find the float. Two methods of calculating float. 15 minus 10, 5, or late start minus early start. 11 minus 6, 5. In the same way here, 15 minus 15, 0, or 6 minus 6, 0. Now here it is 6, here it is 11. What was the question saying? In the question, if you remember, activity B and C will start when activity A will finish. So activity A finishes on 5th. And here if you see, this late start is 11th and here late start is 6th. So what can be the condition here? When we were going forward, we were taking the latter date. When we are going backward, we are taking the earlier date. So 6, if it is here, so it will become 5. So 5 we have put here. Now 5 and then it is taking duration 5. 5 minus 5, 0. 0 plus 1, 1. Now we will find the float. 5 minus 5 you do 0, or you do 1 minus 1, it is 0. So the float here in A, B and D is how much? 0 plus 5 plus 0. So total float in A, path A, B and D is 0 days. And how much is the duration? So we'll say 5 days, 5 days, 15 days. So 5 plus 5, 10 plus 15, 25. So activity A, B, D is taking 25 days. Activity A, C and D is going to take 30 days. Is it clear, sir, everybody?
Yeah, clear.
Okay. So I'm giving one question. Please do. Just a minute. Meanwhile, just read if anything has to be asked. I'm just giving you the question. I don't know where. Okay, this is something that I have seen many times. People asking me in practical life when one thing will come is like the project related thing. It comes. So I'm just. So example, if we have to find something, okay. So what is X work? If you are ordering something, if your company is ordering, let us say a machine coming from UK, let us say, like our company. So you are buying something from our company and the quotation says this machine will be ready in 2 months, X work. So the machine timeline is 2 months and X work means what? When a quotation, you get a quotation as a project manager, it's not important that you should be a master of all quotation management and all these things, but there are a couple of things which are basic things, because as a project manager you have to see what all companies have given the quotation. So one of the things that generally people ask in practical sense, that sometimes they see the quotation, it is written X work, sometimes it is written CIF, which is sometimes it is written DAP, sometimes on the quotation it is written DDP. So what is the difference? This question was asked by one of the participant in the previous batch. So I've just put it here. So X work, if some quotation you get with X work, it means that there is no shipping charges, no custom charges included. It means when it is X work, you have to arrange the shipping, you have to arrange the taking the consignment or anything from their factory. Is it clear? X work means what? X work means no shipping, collection by customer in the manufacturer's factory or premises. So X work means what? If you find a quotation, if example your company plans to buy, let us say a compressor, a big compressor or a big chiller for your factory. So the quotation says the price is $100,000 X work. So what will you mean? You should mean as a project manager, if as a person who is undertaking different quotations. So if it is written X work, $100,000, that means you have to think that this money is only for the item of the ship. It doesn't include any shipping charges, delivery charges, custom clearance or anything. It is just in their factory we will collect, it is $100,000. Second thing it comes is CIF. What is CIF? Cost insurance freight, in another word. So if you find a quotation, it says, example, $105,000 CIF, Jawal Ali, $105,000 CIF, Chennai port. So it means they are going to ship it to the nearest seaport of the customer, and you have to, the buyer has to make sure you get all the clearance, custom, everything is buyer's scope. And from the seaport till your factory is your scope also. So CIF, cost insurance freight, means the seller is going to ship the item from the factory and send it to the nearest seaport. That is the CIF. Now, if you are living, let us say, example, I'm saying, if the factory that you want to do, if it, let us say, is in one place of India called Delhi, and there is no sea in Delhi, so either it has to come to Gujarat port, or let us say Kolkata port, whichever you think is easier. So example, it comes to Gujarat seaport. So then, and if it is a CIF, so it means it will only come to the Gujarat seaport. From Gujarat, taking it to Delhi, which is a landlocked area, those who are not familiar with Indian demography. So there is no sea, nothing. So if you want to take it from Gujarat to Delhi, you have to take by train or railway or bus or whatsoever, or by shipping by containers, so whatsoever. So in that case, the buyer, the Indian company, has to make sure that from the Gujarat seaport, first they will get the custom clearance, everything. Then they are going to take it to the Delhi. So that is CIF. What is DAP? Deliver at place. So example, a company in Delhi orders some machine from our company. So we will make sure that we send it, we ship it, everything we will do. We will insure it, everything we will do. And we will send it through the sea. Then from the sea, it will be sent to the land, to the place where the factory is. But only one thing is not included. And what is not included? The custom clearance charges. Because if some import is coming from different countries, there are some custom clearance charges. So custom clear charges are not included. That has to be paid by the buyer company. Now the last, which is like the full version, called DDP. It is the costliest one. What is DDP? Deliver at place. It is also deliver at place only, and DAP is also deliver at place. But the manufacturer or supplier will send it to your door or location, and custom clear, etc. is seller's responsibility. So that means not only they will make sure that you get the item in your factory, but at the same time, all custom clearance, all charges are paid by the shipping company. Is it clear? Because what happened? So sometimes if you get a quotation in real life and you find that, oh, somebody has quoted, there are 3 companies or 4 companies. One has quoted $110,000 DDP. One company has quoted $105,000 DAP. One company has quoted $105,000 CIF. One company has quoted $105,000 X work. So you will see which is best for you. So $105,000 DAP is best, or $110,000 DDP is best. So you have to understand. Yeah. Clear. What's that?
The DDP one is better.
Actually, it all depends upon.
Yeah, it depends upon. You cannot say, because what happened? DDP is better, but DDP is costliest. DDP is costliest. So generally, like example, our company, which is a British company, we manufacture machines for the food factories. So when we have to send to countries like Saudi Arabia, to India, or to other countries, or what we do, we generally quote the price X work. When somebody asks, can you include the shipping charge? So we ask, which is the nearest seaport? So because we may not be familiar with everything, because if I talk about Saudi Arabia, so there are people from Saudi Arabia. So generally we send to Jeddah seaport or to Dammam seaport. There are 2 places. Like example, if somebody has to send in India, so there are different seaports. They can ask to send in Maharashtra seaport, like Bombay seaport, or they can ask to send in Gujarat seaport, or they can ask to send in Calcutta seaport. So it depends. So which location? So we'll say, okay, then we say CIF to Kolkata seaport is this much. CIF to Ahmedabad seaport is this much. CIF to Mumbai seaport is this much. So the generally second preferred option is CIF. But generally company don't want to do a outsider company like our company. If we have to do supply something, so generally we don't want to do DAP and DDP, because to do a DAP, because we don't have an office in DAP, it involves huge amount of charge from the third party lot of custom, lot of money and everything. So we don't want to go for DAP and DTP. Also, because we will not do it for free, we will put this price, huge price on the customer that say this is the charge of CIF, DAP and DTP. So generally the customer say, okay, you send CIF only, I will get ourselves custom clearance and everything, because they are in that area. They know the local rules, regulations better than a company who is sending from outside. Is it clear? CIF, CAP, this one, and PMP, critical path. 1 minute, critical. I don't know why I'm not getting PMP batch, any batch. 1, 4. I will just try to see that question. Okay. So this is another question. That is the second part that generally comes. So this is not the question that we are solving today. This is the another mathematical question that is considered hard that we have to solve as I got it now. So I'll just share with you on WhatsApp. Meanwhile, you can read, understand what type of questions are asked. So anyway, I'm taking some time. I will give you a question based upon the critical path method that we have done now, and you please do it in your home only. And next class, that is tomorrow, I will share it with you after this class is done, so you can find it out. And when we start, you can tell me the time. Tell me, calculate and tell. So this is the question we did now. So now we come back here. So this is clear. Resource optimization. This is very important thing. You are doing it before now. What is resource optimization? It refers to finding ways to adjust the use of resource. There are two techniques that can achieve this outcome. First is called resource leveling. It can be used when shared or critically required resources are only available at certain time, or limited quantities are over allocated, such as when a resource has been assigned. So example, let's see this particular activity. There, what does it mean? Activity A and B starts together, and activity C will only start when both B and A will finish. Is it clear from this line? If you see the straight line and you see both are finishing, then only C will start. So the question is, activity C will only start when both A and B will finish. Now there are two people. There is one Tom and another is Sue. I don't know if I am pronouncing correct or not the name. So one is Tom and another is Sue. Tom takes activity A. There is an activity A in which both Tom and Sue needs to work. So Tom works for 8 hours, Sue works for 8 hours. And then since we want that both A and B should finish, then only C can start. So we again ask another activity B is there. In this activity B, only Sue has to work. Only Sue is working in this activity. So Sue works for 8 hours. So A and B, 8 hours each, Sue works for 8 hours. Now what is the problem in this one? In this problem, what is happening? That Tom is working 8 hours only, but Sue is working 16 hours in one single day. Can you see? On day 1, Tom is working 8 hours and Sue is working 16 hours. So this is activities before resource leveling. You do not understand the resources properly. You think, okay, 16 hours, 18 hours, no problem. So that is activity A. Now another day, activity C is there, and activity C can be only done by Tom. So example, you can think like that. Activity A is a work in which mechanical and electrical electrician both have to work. Then activity B is that only the electrician has to work. And then activity C, only the mechanical technician has to work, if you can think like that. So another day, what is happening? Activity C is there and only Tom is working for this particular activity. Activity C, only Tom is working for 8 hours. So if you see day 2, 8 hours. Now, what is the problem in this one? Can anybody tell what is the problem with this one that we have to go for this activity? Why we want to do resource leveling? Or resource leveling means proper use of resources. Because if you are asking Sue to work 16 hours a day, it's not human. And then what is the thing? Next day you are asking only Tom to work and Sue is not working. So even though both are working 16 hours only, but it's not very, very nice. So because it's over exerting work on Sue. So what is happening? This is the problem. So how can we resource leveling we can do? So activity A, it needs both Tom and Sue to do. So both Tom and Sue comes on day 1 and they work 8 hours. No. Activity C can only be started when activity A and B both has finished. So activity A you did on day 1, activity B you called to do on day 2, then activity 1 and 2 days have finished, then activity C you call Tom to do it the 3rd day. So this is a resource leveling or resource leveling technique by which you can make sure that the resources are not over allocated or not over exhausted. Is it clear or anybody has to ask anything?
Yes, sir, clear.
Now comes resource smoothing. What is resource smoothing? A technique that adjusts the activities of a schedule method such that the requirement for resources on the project do not exceed certain predefined resource limit. In contrast to resource leveling, this does not result in change critical math. In other words, activities may only be delayed when their flee and flow rotor float. So resource smoothing means you make sure that the work is done in such a way that you do not overexert pressure on the work and it is done within the prescribed time limit. Now comes what if scenario analysis. What if scenario analysis? What if scenario analysis is a way of, it is like an assuming some way. So it is what happened. This seeks to examine various scenarios so as to predict the impact of these scenarios, either positive or negative, primarily on the project cost and schedule objective. Suppose you say, what if the shipment doesn't arrive on time? The shipment doesn't arrive on time, your project is going to get delayed. What if the crane doesn't come today at the site? So that is a what if scenario analysis. So why you need to understand it? If this situation you understand, you assume it, you will be better prepared to equip with the current scenario and challenges. A schedule network analysis is performed using the schedule to compute the different scenarios, such as delaying a major component delivery or introducing external forces such as strike or a change in the permitting process. The outcome of what if scenario analysis can be used to assess the feasibility of the project schedule under adverse conditions. So you can understand and you can take precautionary measures. So what is a simulation? Simulation is a computer software. So example, if I have to build Burj Khalifa, you know. So if you have to calculate you have to make the Burj Khalifa. You will not make Burj Khalifa and then check what will be the load that will happen on the earth. What if the wind will flow? What if there is a strong earthquake? What if there is a big lightning is happening? So these are the issues that you are discussing. So when you are issuing, but in a simulation software, you build that condition through the computer software in order to test the product that you are doing or to check the timeline and everything. So simulation, this technique uses computer software to estimate the outcome of a project based on the 3-point estimate, example, optimistic, pessimistic, and most likely for each activity in the network diagram. Simulations model the combined effect of resource of uncertainty and evaluate their positive impact on achieving major objectives. The most common simulation technique that is used is Monte Carlo analysis, in which risk and other resources of uncertainties are used to calculate possibly scheduled outcome for the total project. So Monte Carlo analysis is what? It is a simulation technique in which risk and other resource of uncertainty are used to calculate possible schedule outcome for the total project. It is more accurate than other method because it stimulates the actual details of the project and calculates probability. Leads and lags we know. leads and lags, you know. Now schedule compression. What is schedule compression? We did already this one. There are two major techniques used to reduce the schedule duration. Crashing. What is crashing? Adding resources to shorten duration often results in increased cost. So you say instead of people working for 2 days, let them work for 4 people work. So when you will add more people, you may have to spend extra money. Crashing means adding resources to shorten the duration, often results in increased cost. Or fast tracking. What is fast tracking? Replanning activities, initially planned sequence or overlap or even run in parallel can result in rework and increased risk. So what is fast tracking? So you know when the forklift or the crane comes at the site, which all activities can be done, which all activities can be clubbed together and done. So that is called fast tracking. Project management software, you know, this is MS Project, Primavera. Agile release planning. What is agile release planning? Agile, as I said, is generally used in the software industry where the things are not as in the traditional, where the things are well defined. You have to define it. It provides a high level summary timeline of the release schedule, typically 3 to 6 months, based on the product roadmap and the product vision of the product's evolution. It also determines the number of iterations or sprint in the release and allows the product owner and team to decide how much need to be developed and how long it will take to have a releasable product. Since feature represents value to the customer, the timeline provides a more easily understood project schedule as it defines which feature will be available at the end of each release or iteration, like that. So agile release. So you can see iteration 1, iteration 2, release 1, release 2. So these are the thing, relationship among product vision, product roadmap, release planning and iteration planning. Schedule data from schedule method. If you have, you can make schedule baseline or project schedule. And what is schedule baseline? It is the approved version of a schedule method that can be changed only through formal change control procedures, going to the PMO or to the project feasibility committee, and is used as a basis for comparison to actual results. It is accepted and approved by the appropriate stakeholder as the schedule baseline with time, baseline start date and finish line, baseline finish dates are there. During monitoring and controlling, the approved baseline rates are compared to the actual start and finish date to determine if variances have occurred. It is a component of the project management plan. We are going to just finish. I know it is not time. So develop schedule output. It will show the new presentation, schedule presentation. This may include milestone. You will assume when the milestone will be received, bar chart, Gantt chart, project schedule network diagram using the project schedule data. The schedule data for the project schedule model is the collection of information for describing and controlling the schedule. The schedule data includes at a minimum the the scheduled milestone, schedule activities and activity attributes and documents, all of the identified assumptions and constraints. Project calendar. So when we see an MS project, MS Primavera, you will see always a project calendar showing the working days per shift available for scheduled activities by distinguishing the time period that are not available from other than those that they are change request and other thing. So we finished the schedule management at the moment, and there is one question that I have to give for practice that I will just find it out and send to you. So is there anything that we need to ask as we will start project cost management tomorrow?
Mr. Fazli, what is the percentage of problems in the examination? 10%, 5%?
Sir, if you see the questions, I gave you the breakdown, but from this particular topic, 10, 12 questions you can always expect. I'm not saying example, you know, late start, late finish, early start, early finish. So I will give one question. I'm just finding it. After some time, I will post it. So please try to do it on your own. And you can use the help of this question to find it out. And please do it. So tomorrow we will start the cost management. Is there anything to be asked? Please ask. If there's nothing, then we can stop and we meet tomorrow.